So I wanted to do a review of Rope, 1948 Hitchcock movie that I think is exceptional. There are a lot of things that can be said about this film of why it is so good, but I think the main thing is the fact that this is Alfred Hitchcock in his prime of building a film of suspense and intrigue, but he does it with an unbroken camera filming everything. Now, yes, I know there was some trickery that was done so that there were actually a couple breaks in the film. You can kind of notice it if you really look close, but for the most part, if you watch this film, it feels like the camera never stops running and never stops focusing on the characters in this film. And it's almost more like watching a theater production more than a movie, because these actors just keep on going and they're telling this story, and as you watch it, because the camera doesn't stop, it just builds that feeling of not only intrigue and suspense, but also kind of a claustrophobic feeling. You can't get out of this, but you just got to keep watching to see how it resolves. So let me get into the plot here. There are two characters. Brandon and Philip were their names. They live together in an apartment in New York City. Both actors, even though James Stewart kind of gets a top billing for this, he was the big name in Hitchcock films. I honestly have to say, I think these two guys, these were the stars of the film because they do such an amazing job. Not only that, but they stay in character throughout the film, and both balance wonderfully with each other. John Dahl plays this witty, arrogant, kind of self-confident character who's so full of himself. He's kind of the mastermind of the crime. And his partner in the crime, this other actor, Dick Hogan, he's a little bit more of the wavering. He's nervous, he's unsure. And you see that it's eating at him this whole film. He's drinking more, he's visibly just always showing this uncertainty of what in the world have they just done. Contrasted with John Dahl, who maintains this arrogant attitude. And what I really love about the film is watch both of these actors stay in that character through the entirety of the film. It's absolutely brilliant. So the plot is these two guys philosophically are under this mindset that they are superior and that the lives of superior beings have the right over inferior ones so that they can basically kill those that they don't deem as worthy. It's a pretty crazy idea. And they kill this friend of theirs, and then they hide the body in a chest in the apartment. But then this John Dahl character, in this arrogance that he has, not only wants to hide the body in this chest, but he covers it with a tablecloth, puts candles and stuff on it, and they decide to host a dinner party, and they're going to have all these people come over while this dead body is right in the living room. So it's kind of grisly, but it's also just creepy. What would be going through this guy's mind to even think of doing something like this? And to take it up a notch, they also invite, so the guy that died, his name was David, so they invite David's father to the party and also his fiance. All along, they have no clue that there's this body of, his son and her fiance in this chest, and they're serving dinner on top of it too, to boot. So, it's a pretty twisted idea. So we get to the party, it starts to take place, and that camera just keeps on running. It doesn't break. And I was thinking, they probably should have had some smoke breaks, but as you watch the film, all the characters are smoking through the whole film anyway, so I guess they didn't really need smoke breaks, maybe bathroom breaks. Yeah, that's me. I watch a movie and I'm always thinking about, how do they take care of bathroom situations? Well, anyhow, they invite James Stewart over. Now, of the two guys, he was like an old school teacher of theirs. So he comes over, and as things start to unfold, you can tell he's getting suspicious, particularly as he watches the Dick Hogan character and his wavering nervousness. He kind of suspects something weird is going on, and it starts to unravel a little bit. And I think what is great in this film, first they go through this discussion, a great dinner topic. They're talking about the philosophical arguments for these lives of inferior beings and how they can be destroyed and so on. And of course, James Stewart is going to counter with, by what right can you determine if a life is superior or inferior? And they kind of get into like the Nazi Hitler thinking and so on. So this philosophical argument is taking place while there's this dead body, under their dinner table. And what I love about this is the John Dahl character. He's so self-confident. As you get to the end of the film, you start to see his character break. It's like James Stewart kind of gets through it, and he can only have this smug smile, this arrogance for so long, and then it starts to crack. And that's just brilliant to watch that happen. Now, like I do with all these reviews, I don't like to give away the endings, particularly with Hitchcock, because there's always those twist endings. So I'll just say the party kind of continues, but eventually all the guests leave, but James Stewart comes back. He's got, like old Columbo, just a few more questions, sir. Well, he comes back, and he wants to ask these two guys a few more questions, and he sits around with his drink, and it continues, and you gotta watch it. It's just fantastic to see how this entire story, as twisted as it is, comes to an end. And like I said, there's that unbroken camera work that really builds and builds that feeling that this is just a non-stop road. I mean, you can really get into the nervousness of the Dick Hogan character, because we're there along with him. We don't take a break. We're just watching this whole film run and come to the train wreck of a conclusion that it's headed towards. So that's the film Rope. Came out in 1948. It's a great early Hitchcock classic. If you get a chance, go and check this one out. Okay, one more observation as an afterthought, and I debated adding this just because it's so uber nerdy and stupid. But I wanted to point out is that when the character Dick Hogan, whenever he would sit down and play that little melody at the piano, every time I would hear that, it would remind me of the music that Jerry Goldsmith wrote for the film Legend back in 1985, the European cut of the film. I don't think his soundtrack didn't make it into the USA version. That was Tangerine Dream. He wrote this melody for the wee people, the wee folk, as they pose a riddle to the Tom Cruise character. And I'm getting way off in left field with obscurity. But all I'm going to say is this. The melody he plays at the piano sounds so much like the Sing the Wee Folk music. I wanted to play very, very, very brief clips of both. Hopefully the YouTube powers that be will not crack down on me and file the copyright claim or whatever. But this is just for my sanity. I just have to make mention of this and include this. I probably sound like a total nerd talking about it, but that's one thing that always would stand out from this one scene. So I want you to listen to both and let me know what you think.